and we did something to help others instead. And as the world turns, those others didn't come in this direction. So here we are. Now we're rewriting the script. We're praying over, figuring out what direction does Yah want us to go. If you've been with us through this ongoing soap opera over the last 10 years on Love Life Ruach Remnant Reality Radio, our script has been rewritten and revised and edited and all sorts of different things over the last 10 years, trying to listen and hear his voice. And I know because we have leaned on him, even though we may have made a decision because we were trying to love someone else and we were putting someone else first over us. We've ended up in some places that needed to be stopping points because there was something we were supposed to learn there. There's something we were supposed to grow from there. So even though Yah maybe would have wanted Yami to tell family members many years ago, no, you can't live with grandma. No, you can't live with your mother. You're a full-grown woman. You're almost 60 years old. You're not living with me. I have a small trailer, and this just ain't going to work out. No, I'm not driving you to the methadone clinic every day. No, I'm not going to be the bus driver thinking that I'm serving others when I'm driving a bunch of drug addicts around to go do evil works. That's a hard reality to have to face, that your family is really messed up. But I had to face that reality, and I can tell you flat out, just like Yami, I'm not going to enable my family to party, to get high, to get drunk, to do evil stuff. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to be in denial that that's just fine. I have to face the reality that my family is pretty messed up and that they need help. And I'm not going to save them. I'm not going to be the one that Yah's going to go ahead and save them. It's going to probably be someone else, if they'll open their ears ever. Someone else is going to get sent into their life, and they're going to get a wake-up call. Maybe they're going to get arrested. Maybe they're going to end up in a mental institution. All the kinds of things that I had to do in my journey, in my original script, to hit those rock-bottom realities. These are the things that, Yami's family has had to go through too. So I'm proud of her that she rewrote the script finally and said, nope, my brother and I will live here, but nobody else, because I'm not going to get my head bashed in by some crazy heroin addict in the middle of the night ever again. No way. No more freak show friends or whatever, and who knows what my own family would do. So you got to come to a place of common sense in the script rewrite, so you don't do it emotionally. So when I was saying, feeling, you got to do it with the leading of the Ruach. You got to really take an open-minded look at, okay, where do I go from here? Sand and I just had to rewrite the script big time while we were on our anniversary. There's a lot of time of reflection in this last anniversary where we really prayed out on a porch over a golf course and just really had to think of, where are we going to go from here? We got to get out of this house. We got to do something. And there comes that point where every one of you, you've even got prophecy. Well, I'm supposed to move here. I'm supposed to move there. And you heard it from Yahweh, and then you don't obediently do what he tells you to do. That can be a real disaster. And then he'll show you, and he'll show you, and he'll show you, hey, you better listen to me. You better listen to me. You better, because it's going to get worse and worse and worse. I think when Yami was going through some of that stuff, I was put in her life to be the bearer of bad news, to tell her things that she didn't want to really hear, but she needed to hear. And that is a true friend. That is someone that really loves you, that will tell you the unfortunate realities to help you write the script. So I think Sand and I came to some really good places recently, and we've been praying and we've been talking it over and examining and evaluating and processing the entire situation. And I think every one of us really needs to do that, and that may mean writing it down, because I know Yami's been doing a lot of writing lately, and I'm hearing some of the greatest stuff coming out of her that I've ever heard. The maturity level of her writing is increasing right now. Yahweh is exponentially increasing her right before our very eyes. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. I'm seeing Yahweh accelerate the Pratts into this situation to establish a foundation in Sheboygan at the 1907 Club for their ministry that they've dreamed about for years and years and years, and the script was trying to get written, and it was like, okay, how is this going to actually come together and be a reality, be more than just a vision, but it's going to actually become a reality? How does that happen? And that's what, when Abraham is seeing this land of promise and he's hearing Yahweh tell him all these things, eventually the script has to be played out. So it's one thing to write or rewrite a script, but then there's another point that comes where you're actually going to act it out. Yahweh wants us to act out the script to the best of our Yah abilities. So we got to take action. We can't just sit back thinking about it. Eventually, we've got to step forward by faith, and we got to really do it. There's about 100 scriptures about taking action. All right? About 100. And, if we really would just do the word more often than not do the word, our life would probably look significantly different. The reason that Abraham is the father of our faith is because of this very principle of action. Faith can only carry you to the scene of action. the way that faith will completely be manifested and have its completion is through an action. In Yeshua's brother Yehub's second chapter, 14 through 17, he says, "What good is it, brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no action, no deeds, no works? What good is it?" Can that kind of faith ever save them? And suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm and well fed," which is what we see happen a lot out there, the opportunity arises to do the word, to follow the Torah, because again, we just recently went through in the Torah, in Deuteronomy, where it tells us about helping people with food, helping people with clothing, helping people with lodging. You know, what I've always had with this vision of having all these properties across the country is that people would have a place to go. The challenge is, we know that when you bring in people off the street that are lawless, then they're going to bring their lawlessness onto that property, and that has to be somehow protected or monitored, or someone has to be there with a gun to make sure these people don't kill each other when they get there, or kill the counselors. It's no secret that for years I've had machetes all over the place and knives tucked in every little crack and crevice, every corner, everywhere you turn. There's a knife here and there's a knife there, here a knife, there a knife, everywhere a knife, you know, just in case. Just in case. Never had to pull one on anybody in any of our house of worships or home of shaloms. I've had them pulled on us. So there's a real dilemma in the script writing, you know, for me, because I see the vision of the properties. I see the vision of, you know, the Faith Favor Farms and the vision of the house of worships and, you know, home of shaloms and Camp Loves, Ruach retreats. I see all these places to go, but then the dilemma comes in of how do you bring people in that need, but yet protect the camp, the already existing Torah keepers, the already existing followers of the way, the truth, and the life that's in Yeshua HaMashiach, the congregation, the mishpachah, the family, the assembly. How do you protect them from those that are transforming? And not all of the properties are earmarked for that, you know, specifically. Some is, hey, this is just really our close family, you know, live together on this 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 acres here that we got, you know, and we'll just kind of all hang out here and until Yah tells us to move, if he tells us to move to another one. But yeah, I don't know how this is going to play out for sure. But I have this vision, and I've had it for decades now, that there would be properties that we would definitely farm. We would definitely create our own food. We would definitely have animals that produced eggs and that got butchered and all kinds of really cool stuff. But to do it, any of the things we've already done, and we have done a lot of houses already, and we have got some farms already going and been on those properties already, up with Erica in northern Wisconsin, you know, and because someone got there before we did when we were talking about it, when the guy got up there, he got Erica drunk. Yeah, she had 2 years sober. She was supposed to be leading that. Of course the devil wanted to take her out. She had been severely abused as a young woman in her teens from her father. And she wanted to help other women. She made a major connection with Sand and I, and wanted to give this property to the ministry that she had, and just like that, in the helping the poor, in the helping those that are in need, in the helping others that we were attempting to do, the devil came in and destroyed that camp. In one weekend. Supposedly it's still, you know, in her will that when she dies, that's going to be a Love Inc. property. I don't, quite frankly, I find it hard to believe. I've never had any attorneys contact us, or I've never had any documents sent to us or anything as such, but she says it. And then there's another person that, you know, Sand has helped out over and over and over, sent her money and clothing and whatever, given her a lot over the years, and she supposedly has family property in Israel, and she wants to give that to Love Inc., but I've never seen any paperwork on that either. And of course, you know, we all know about the 19 properties that are out there that, you know, were offered to us. 19 properties offered to us by a wealthy widow. But to step forth by faith and execute a vision, and maybe Yahweh is going to give you that vision, I don't know. But to execute by faith that, hey, I need to go to this property that she has in North Carolina, which Sand and I, we went and we looked at the North Carolina property. It's really cool. A lot of drama wrapped around that one, I'll tell you. And that was all in a failed ministry where the pastor left his wife for somebody in the congregation and everything fell apart. That was a financed thing that she did with Christian Ministries, and that was part of what came with it, was she told us about all the Christian ministries she tried to help and all the people that screwed her over financially and never followed through and paid for the properties that she let them live on. So she really had a bad taste in her mouth, and she really wants, you know, to give us an opportunity. And she's just pretty much said, write up the paperwork, and she would have let us do what we needed to do. She even introduced me to other people in the community and everything else. So I guess, you know, maybe it's a matter of you guys being more evangelistic and running into more people, and me being more evangelistic and running into more people that may want to be the leaders of places, because maybe some of our greatest leaders of love we haven't even met yet. And maybe that's the faith. Maybe that's the faith that we have to have. Maybe First Yohanan 3:18, where it says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." Maybe that's really what's going to get her done. With more action. Because maybe a whole bunch of us are just a bunch of words and we're not getting kingdom work done. We're just talking about it all the time. Talking about it. Talk. So I want you to dig deep when you write this out, and you pray over it, and you fast over it, and you're thinking about, where am I supposed to go? And if you're right where you're supposed to be right now because you're getting trained and you're getting yourself built up and you're getting mentored and you're getting stronger, which is probably the case for Yasser, he's right where he's supposed to be right now because he's not church hopping anymore, as they labeled him as. No, he's finding a home in a real mishpachah that really loves him and sees the value of who he is as a man of Yah. And he needs the body to rally around him, to build him up, to get him ready for that season to come. We don't know if that's going to be months or if it's going to be years, but eventually the script will catch up to you. And that's not just for Yasser, it's for all of us. We don't know how soon the Pratts would ever leave Sheboygan. I've known for a long time they were supposed to go, but that doesn't mean that season has arisen yet or arrived yet. Maybe they need to have, millionaire status created in that town before they leave. Maybe that's what Yah wants to do, is to take all the doubters and all the laughers and all the people that didn't believe in them, and maybe they need to just really get that all together and have that ministry all together and have a really solid foundation at that 1907 club and find themselves a congregation of 7 powerful people that when they leave, there's 7 people that were planted there by them that are going to take the torch, so to speak. Because if all we're going to do is not just love with words or speech, but instead with actions and in truth, that's what's going to transform people's lives. That's what's going to create 7 leaders there. Scribe's sitting back going, wow, I never even thought that I might create 7 leaders. I don't think like that. You got to start thinking like that. That's what a shaliach is going to do. Think about this. All you guys, just think about this. Shaul was traveling all over Asia. He had the biggest travel schedule, and by the way, that was over 57 years. That wasn't over 57 minutes, So let's really put this in perspective here. Over 57 years, this guy is traveling all over the place, right? And as he's traveling, when he's writing these letters to Ephesus or these letters to Corinth, or he's writing these letters to all these different places, do you realize that each of those places had to have a leader? Hello? These are no-name people in the scriptures. He just kind of labels it as Ephesus and the letters to the Ephesians. But what he was building there, and probably didn't put a name to it because that person was still maybe in the process of being built up yet. Trying to give you some continuity in this, some perspective, some angles on how to maybe look a little deeper at the scriptures than what you maybe have in the past and see the practical application to your own ministry. These were people he wrote letters to of correction. They were written to people already filled with Ruach HaKodesh. They were probably tongue talkers. They were probably people that had visions and had dreams and were wanting to do good for Yah's kingdom. They're probably trying to follow the Messiah just like we're trying to follow the Messiah. And Shaul probably didn't know who the leader of Ephesus was even going to be. Obviously, he found Timothy, right? He found him. Actually, he was referred to him. He didn't even find him. He was referred, and he rejected him. He was like, he's too young. He's just a kid. So I don't know how old Shaul was when that conversation was going on, but, you know, he was a ball buster that really agitated people, from what I understand. His personality was really hard to deal with. And obviously he went through not just Timotheus, but he went through Silas and he went through Barnabas. He rejected Marcus, which was Cephas or Peter's cousin, I think. He said, no, I don't want him coming with me. So there was a lot going on in this journey. A lot going on in this journey. In and out of all these different cities. Of, you know, who's going to be the traveling ministers with me and who's going to be the ones that stay in the city. Who's going to be the ones that are going to be out in the countryside. So really, when you think of the grand scheme of things, it's really very similar to what we got going on here now. They were trying to figure this out. They were trying to write the script of their own life. They were trying to put together an action plan. And you know, you got to have the long-term vision, but then somehow you got to reel it back and say, okay, what do I got to do today? What's my task list? This is what my wife is the expert on. What is the task list of what needs to happen today? So I live more in the future, as a visionary, and she lives more into, okay, let's put together an action plan of how we can get through the day and get one step closer to that vision. And I think it's why we make a great team, and I think it's why Yah put us together, because we do get things accomplished, and sometimes they probably take longer than what Yah would have preferred, but we make wrong choices, we say wrong things, we get with wrong people, we don't always do everything perfectly, but he works through those failures that we do, and he uses us anyway. And, you know, that's really what we see in Scripture is, you know, he worked through those failures at Corinth. He worked through the failures at Ephesus. He worked through the failures at Colossia. You know, all these places, whatever leadership was there, he worked through the failure as well as the success and continued to build and grow this mishpachah over the last 2,000 years. You know, again, going back to Yehud, Yeshua's brother in 417, says anyone knows, or if anyone then knows the good they should do and doesn't do it, it is sin. Again, do would be the spot where you say take the action, right? What they ought to do, what they should do, and doesn't do it, then it becomes sin. So I'm just going to, close with that and just say, man, we got an opportunity in front of us. And I apologize for the late start again today. I really do. But Yahweh is going to get us back on our schedule again, and we're going to go through the rigidness of what structure. My wife really loves that structure, and we're going to get back on that, all right? So bear with me in this. This new format for the nights is going to have more structure. We now got, Scott Scribe Pratt doing a night in the new, weekend. The final night, we didn't have anybody doing anything on that night for a long time. So we're doing what we know we got to do. And all of you that have been teaching, I just want to thank you, because I believe that is what's supposed to be happening right now, is we're supposed to be putting out recordings in perfection. The best recordings we've ever done as a team of ministers have been happening over these last 3 years, big time. I can be confident when I'm done with the current recording that if I go back into 2022, 2021, 2020, that there are some excellent teachings by all of you all throughout that period. And again, I think Yami's best teachings are happening now. And that was my goal. My goal, as I pulled all my hair out, she's the reason all my hair is pulled out and I'm bald. My goal was, how can I help this Yasam, Ruach-filled woman become an incredible teacher in the kingdom? Because she didn't believe she was. And she was probably right. She wasn't rising to the level that deep down in her heart she knew it was there, but she didn't know how to do it. Scott Scribe Pratt, when he started working towards this licensing and ordination, and then I kicked the training wheels off and I said, all right, you're a Yahweh now. You're going to lead the radio program. He didn't think he could do it. But through time and through the effort and through taking that step of faith, that step of faith, that step of faith every morning, and me getting out of his way, he became an excellent Yahweh. My wife compliments it all the time. Wow, he's really good. He's really good. So, watching Mike the Spike go from a stutterer to an eloquent speaker and learning, so being the student and then teaching all in a really relatively humble way, was a pretty exciting journey we watched this young man go through as well. And we're praying he's coming back. They'll come back. And, I've got quite the list of people that I pray for that have been with us in the past. I pray for them. I lift them up before Yah regularly. So I don't know what you're all doing when that time of prayer is kind of just put out there. It's like, yeah, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. But, I'm being led right now that that's going to get shortened a little bit. And if I shorten it, I don't want your prayer life to suffer. So don't let that happen. I really want you to continue to soak, continue to pray without ceasing. Write that down, that scripture in Thessalonians. If you will start to pray without ceasing, you will start to develop solid scripture step 11. Because that's really, the main scripture. Pray without ceasing. That's really the main scripture that starts to change. Is you don't just say a prayer before a meal, a prayer before bed. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. You don't do that anymore. You don't pray, come Lord Jesus, be our guest, let this food to us be blessed. You're done with those canned little childhood, mommy and daddy taught me prayers. And you are now in relationship, and there's a communication and a flow between you and your Ab Yah, your Father Yah. There is a relationship with you and Him. And I mention Him as a Father because that's who Yeshua tells you to pray to. Hallelujah. Be your name. Hallelujah be your name. Our Ab Yah, which art in Shamayim, which art, fart art, okay, which is in Shamayim. We need to be able to really, really go to a new level, and that's why I'm telling you to write and rewrite and write and rewrite and write and rewrite to get into this examination process, get into the journaling, 10.4, solid scripture step 10.4, and then pray and pray and pray and pray without ceasing. Do the step 11. Your conscious contact with Ab Yah will increase, and you will be so in tune with each and every step of a day and a way and everything else. We did a bunch of David Rutt's training yesterday, and it was like the confirmation in my Ruach, man, that I needed to get back on that part of my action plan, that I have to be out talking to the business community of El Paso. Yes, my first priority of all my contracts is LifeWave, X39, no question about it. But every one of those business owners that I'm going to say, hi, my name's Rock, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm new here in the El Paso area, and I'm expanding business, and I just want to give you my card and let you know if you ever need business capital, I'm your money man. Whatever that start of a conversation starts with, you got to understand that that's a nefesh, right? That's a mind, that's a will, that's emotions on the other end of that human being. And there's a physical body there that needs X39, because everybody needs X39. So whether or not they need business capital or not is irrelevant. it's a great conversation starter and a great reason for me to go in that business. So they're not saying, well, what are you here for? And if I go in there to cold pitch or to cold call with stem cells, it could be an awkward situation. So I've really thought this through that I can reach business owners who are probably in most cases going to look at $1,700 for a diamond pack as a joke because they've already invested $250,000 or $1 million or more in their business. So now it's just a matter of when I offer the health care, which we have a new health care program, and it's we're being told that we can guarantee that we're going to have a better rate in our healthcare program than your typical conventional insurance. So as that door is opening by faith about, possible health care for them, then I can tell them about a natural program called the Naturopathic Network Association, and it opens up the door for them to be preventative because $2,500 deductible doesn't sound that bad when your deductible was $5,000, but how'd you like to not have to exercise the deductible? This is preventative. This is going to help you stay healthy so you never have to go to the doctor. See, the real goal for any healthcare program or health insurance program is and should be that you don't get sick. You don't get sick. You don't need to go to a doctor so that you don't get wrapped up like one of, Yasser's friends who's obviously addicted to painkillers, morphine and whatever else, Oxycontins, and, he's going to the drug dealer, not a doctor. And that's the kind of conversation he had to have with a guy yesterday. Of course he doesn't give a rip about stem cells. If we get him healthy, then he won't need a doctor anymore, and then he will lose his drug dealer. This is what we're up against. So we really are fixing a lot of transformational aspects. We're really going in there with the products and the services that we got to fix a lot of junk, a lot of messed up stuff. And I'm really just, to be honest with you, I'm really looking forward to my script is written. I know what I need to do. I need to make $1 million yesterday. I need another $1 million. And in fact, I'll tell you, because I've made several $1 million through my life, right? But I really need to make more than just $1 million. I need to make several million really fast right now. So I really believe this is a harvest season for me. And if you want to get on board with that and you want to say, you know what, I'd like to make a few million too. Okay, then buckle up, Buttercup, because we're going to run. And I can be a really good Super Bowl coach, and we can win the Super Bowl together. The Super Bowl of life is a decision. So I really want to do that, and it's going to take a team. I can't do it on my own. So if you want to be part of that team, you go ahead and you write me a text message that says, I'm in, I'm on the team, all right? I'm in, I'm on the team, I'm in the millionaire club, because we're going to all be millionaires together. And I'm going to take the approach that Onyx Cole did to get to the 17 million that she made in 7 years, she had to help over 50 others become millionaires. That's how network development companies work. We get paid bonuses, and some of those are going to come from my David Allen Capital team. You know, he did the compensation plan last night. And, you know, the money's there. It's a really simple concept. They're going to give you a percentage for coaching some people and making some superstars. Isn't that exactly what happens in the NFL? If these coaches coach their team members into becoming superstars, then the Packers are going to give that coach a bonus. They're going to give him more money. He's going to be one of the most valuable coaches in the NFL. You know, I heard Yasser talking about Jerry, you know, from, I think, the Cowboys, right? And how he thought, you know, Jerry Jones, and how he, you know, pushed out there that Dallas was America's team and all this kind of stuff. And really, and he sold it, man. You got to give the guy credit. He sold it. There was a lot of people that became, you know, Dallas Cowboy fans because of that guy around the world. And I'm just going to tell you, I got to sell it. Okay? I got to sell it. That kind of a vision that we are going to be a millionaire club together. Is it about the money? No. If you've been listening at all, it's all about kingdom. I'm building an army of millionaires so that we don't have to be the tail any longer. I'm sick of being the tail. The scripture tells us to be the head, not the tail. Why are you satisfying for being the tail and having to smell the farts all the time? Right? Isn't the tail connected to the fart machine? So you got to smell all the poop. You got to smell all the crap back there as a tail. No, I don't want to be there anymore. I've had enough crap in life. It's time to be the head. And, you know, whatever success I've had in the past, okay, great, whatever. I don't want to be a has-been. What I did back in the 90s. I don't want to be a has-been of what I did back in, you know, the 2000s when you know, I got all this great stuff going with Google and whatever. I want to live now, and I want to achieve more than ever before everything that Yah has for me to achieve. And the greatest thing will be to bring the faith and the action together into people's lives who've really never been very prosperous. Those that want to be on this team, we have a spot for you. There's no discrimination. I love the way David shared that part of his presentation last night. I don't care if you graduated from Harvard or if you got kicked out of high school. It doesn't matter. This opportunity is for you. You just got to decide, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So either you're helping people with their health or you're helping people with their wealth. Because all those business owners out there, they don't want to lose all the money they got invested into what they have put forth as their dream. And you can come in and you can assist them so they don't lose everything. It really is a cool situation when you provide business services and business capital to help someone with their dreams. So I think these are good causes. I think they're pure. I think they're righteous. I think our leadership is really great in David Rutz. I think our leadership is really great in Onyx Cole. think our leadership is really great with the Wenigers. I think our leadership is great with Doc Wallach and his message. His message is pure and clear. And I think Steve is trying to do his best as a CEO with what his father has done and accomplished to now bring that research and that pathology and all these different results from decades and decades of his work to bring it to us. And all we got to do is share it. Well, what do you got? I got a package that comes out to about $1,700 for stem cells. I got a package for $4.99 that's going to take your household toxic free, because you got to get all of the poison out of your household. And I got a package that's going to give you all the 90 essentials so that your body can perform at a level that will let its genetic potential really happen. I got all these things. So 3 packages, $1,700, $500, and $500. Total of about almost $3,000. That's the investment for the NNA to really get yourself started if you're serious as an NNA person. I don't feel no guilt or no shame or no anything wrong with someone putting forth $3,000. They should. It's going to save their life. How much was that deductible again? Oh, I see. You were really willing to pay $2,500 to a failed medical system, you bonehead. But a success system for the body of $3,000 up front, and then you don't have to pay that per family member. That's for the whole household, because you're all going to share these products. The $2,500 is per person deductible. Really? Is that how health insurance works? I don't know. I've been getting stuff from the government. I get to go. Yeah, that's because you got broke mentality and you don't realize what's going on in the real world of middle class and upper middle class and wealthy people. If you've been down in the lower middle class and the broke poverty level, a lot of this stuff, that's a lot of money, $3,000. $3,000 isn't even a thought for someone who I walk into and I talk to about a construction business, and I'm trying to help his construction business. We build a relationship through David Allen Capital, and now I got a new friend here, and now I say, oh, and by the way, I got a preventative program through the Naturopathic Network Association that I developed with my wife, and I really recommend that you get everybody on your company on board with this, because your premiums are going to stay down if you do this. Well, how much is it? It's less than $3,000 for a full family to be, getting the household converted to some products that are going to be a lot better. Well, yeah, that sounds great. Let's talk about it. And boom, 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 3 new sales and nice commission, but now I've set them on a path that creates a residual in health products that will save their lives. So I take a much stronger business approach and get with more people that are in that middle class, upper middle class, and even, the wealthy class of people. I really think that is a market that I will be ministering to a lot of business owners and developing relationships with a lot of business owners. And doesn't it make sense to you that if you start dealing with more of those people, that some of them are going to get on board with us with Love Inc., and some of them are going to say, I'd like to stop tithing to 700 Club, or I'd like to stop tithing to, TBN. I really don't like churches, but it sounds like what you guys got going on is very different than church. I'd like to send my tithes to you guys. And then all of a sudden, the $100,000 a month tithe starts coming in because the guy makes over $1 million a year, and now you got $100,000 a month coming in. Now, for some of you, you're like, wow, you think like this? Rewrite the script. Quit thinking like a tail. Start thinking like the head. You will be able to, I'll guarantee you this, you will be able to take action a lot easier, a lot quicker once that year has passed and that 100,000 came in every month like clockwork. And it wasn't even a big deal to that guy because, remember, he kept, that would have been on $10 million if I get my math right? But I don't care how you want to look at it. If it's 10,000 a month, would that make a huge impact if we had one guy that did that? Yeah, that would be huge to have that coming in. Some of you are saying, well, their tithe would be more than what I make per month. Right, because you've been taught to be the tail, and you believed and had faith that you were the tail, and as a result, guess what you've been? You've been the tail, because you believed it. That's what you had faith in. You had faith that you could be a tail. You really didn't have faith that you could ever be a millionaire, because if you would have taken the action necessary, and you would have then been the millionaire. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad, so if you're taking this message that way, you got to get that evil demon out of there too. You got to realize when you are the losing team of the NFL and you only won 3 games last year, you've got to realize, hey, guess what? Next year we got to get back out on the field again. Oh yeah, but we were the tail end of the whole NFL last year. We only won 3 games. And that was against the 3 crappiest teams in the league. Those are the ones we won. We didn't even win against anybody that was any good. Okay, so does your past determine your future? If my past determined my future, I would have been dead a long time ago. If my past determined my future, I'd still be, snorting coke and tripping on LSD and, smoking, weed and whatever. Drinking a bottle of Jack to 2 bottles of Jack a day or whatever. My past cannot determine my future. If my past determined my future, then I would still be making $3.35 an hour driving a combine for Career Foods, Stokely Van Camp. I'd still be, making sausage at Johnsonville. Come on, you guys. Your past doesn't determine your future. You know better than that. Rewrite the script. Get on board with the visions that Yah will give you. And make that dream big enough that it hurts. It hurts when you're not getting it. I didn't go. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. I'm going to gut it out. I'm going to tough it out. Oh, but my legs hurt. I can't chop my legs no more like this. What do they call them in football? Suicides. No, you're going to do more suicides, more suicides, more suicides. What is the military sergeant, the drill sergeant, what is he going to do? Is he going to back off when people start wimping out, or is he going to push them more? Well, people are falling over to the side of the road, sir, and they're puking. Good. Kick them in the rear end and tell them to get their ass up and get going. I remember when Jerry Meadows did the speech, my best mentor ever, he said, I believe in kicking a man when he's down. And I think that's why Jerry had so many professional sports stars, you know, Olympic gold champions, you know, little Mary Lou Retton, you know, we had her in, you know. We had some of the greatest sports stars in there because they would talk about how hard they worked to win the gold. You know, Tim Foley, who was all-pro defensive back with the Miami Dolphins, is one of the biggest millionaires in the network development space ever. He was at the levels of Dexter Yeager when Dexter Yeager died, and he still is building that business. He's one of the biggest in the world in Amway today. And he was all-pro defensive back for the Miami Dolphins. And when he gives his speeches, his talks, you can hear that level of excellence that it took to be a champion in football is the same level of excellence that he brought into business development and developing networks. So everything I'm telling you today in this marketplace ministry message, if you want to look at it that way, everything I'm telling you today is a definite. It's a definite. Oh, I'm not telling you not to do ministry. In fact, I'm going to tell you to step it up there too. I'm going to tell you to minister harder than you ever ministered before. Because what I've found is when I'm ministering really hard out there, as I'm building business, it seems like the Berachot just opens up even more doors even faster. That I can't even hardly keep up with it. That I can't even contact the people back fast enough and organize myself in my computer and in my tracking information of who I talk to and when I talk to them and everything else. And I found that when Yasser and I were on the trip. It was so easy to talk to people about X39. Why? Because I was talking about Yahweh. That was my mainstay of my conversation. Yasser watched it, and the next thing I knew, I was in an hour-long discussion with somebody about, and you know what? I got all those follow-throughs that are on my list. It's part of my to-do list. I got to follow through with all of those people because I'm pretty sure I'm going to enroll every one of them. You know, and one of the couples that had just gone to Israel that met me through a restaurant that we did at the Grand Tetons, they got real excited about our ministry because they heard me talking to the people, and all of a sudden I had not just the waitress on fire, but I had a guy who had gone through AA that was there, and I was sharing with him, and the next thing I knew, this guy said, hey, can I get your card? And that opened up a door of faith-based films because he already knows all the people at Chosen because they're filming Chosen right in his backyard, right here in Texas. He wants to get together. Honestly, I'm sitting here right now. I can't remember the guy's name. I can picture him. I can picture his wife. great people. Do you think Yahweh put those people in my path by accident? They asked me for my card. I wasn't sitting there shoving cards at people. They were asking me for my card. Yahweh, I'm telling you, once you make the decision that you're going to get in the vision and you're going to start doing and you're going to be taking action and you're going to be out there on the road and there's this rigorous path that you've got to take. I mean, my biggest problem of why I didn't, and I'm not making excuses, I'm just being honest, I couldn't even make a phone call up there. I was fortunate enough to get their names down into my address book because I could make calls and I did have internet right at that restaurant. But once we drove away from that restaurant, I was trying to have a conversation with Rich, and boom, it was gone. And I tried to call him back, and boom, it was gone again. I tried to call him back, and boom, it was gone again. It was really hard to work a phone-related business, not only for the fact that I was driving, but because of lack of service. But I know the challenge, and I do know that I got the numbers. So I at least got that part right. Could have I been better and done better? And yeah, I got to continue to sharpen my skills, because I know that the fortune is in the follow-through. If I got all these names and I never call these people back, I am squandering the berachot that Yah wants to do through me. He wouldn't have put all these people in my path and made it so easy for me to meet people if he didn't want me to take it to the next level. And honestly, I've been notorious in doing that, getting the names and then not calling them, not following through. Boxes and boxes full of business cards, and then not following through. That is what I have to overcome in this season of my life, because I believe if I improve my follow-through, it's a done deal. It's as simple as that. So if you can pray for me, if I can ask for a prayer on anything, it's that my follow-through gets better. Because I think that one thing has held me back more than anything else. And every time I hear fortune's in the follow-through, doesn't matter which company, which, different leader talks, eventually that same thing comes out. Hey man, the fortune's in the follow-through. You got to get back with people. And it's not like when I get back with people, like I'm not good at that part. I'm really good to get them enrolled or get them started or open up a new business. I'm really good at all of it. It's just that in between the contact and making that callback to say, hey, let's go. So I pray that that is never a problem anymore for me, but it is always the new solution. It's follow through. And we've got some big goals in front of us right now, short term, mid-term, and long term. So I'm going to get to work. I'm already overtime on the call. For those of you that were able to stay with us, appreciate you. And I just want you to know that I love you. And I love the most of anything, of everything that we talked about, that I get to minister to the marketplace. I get to share the love of Yah with people in the marketplace. And you know what? Middle class, upper middle class, and wealthy people need Yah just as much as a homeless person on the street. So don't kid yourself like, well, But are you saying you're not going to do the hungry, hurting, homeless, helpless, brokenhearted? I've already been there, done that. I own the t-shirt factory. I believe this season is a shift where the majority of my time is going to be talking to people that have. I've already invested decades of my life with the have-nots. I'm still going to be doing transformed recovery. Of course I'm going to be dealing with the have-nots in transformation. But guess what? Like I just said, the middle class, the upper middle class, and the wealthy, they need transformation too. Transformed recovery is for everybody. And some of those addicts out there are pretty wealthy. Take a look at Hollywood. How would it be if someone that was Jewish, that was in the Hollywood Jewish community of all these movies, and there's hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through this person? We'll just take an example like Adam Sandler. And Adam Sandler found out that we were a non-religious, we're not Judaism, he found out that we're a non-religious Christian, we're non-religious Islam, but that we just follow the Torah. I mean, I just watched the new comedy that he has, very Jewish. It's a Judaism comedy. And it really, to me, it's kind of hilarious. And you really get a chance to look at the religion, and he makes a lot of fun in it, but he's the one that actually takes the Judaism real seriously as the father of a girl that's going to do her bar mitzvah. And it's just, what if you were to run into a guy like Adam Sandler, who's got the Happy Madison, he's done all these different comedy type, movies, and all of a sudden he has enough in his faith that he says, you know what, Hollywood needs your program, man. You got something really cool here. You're using the Torah to transform people's lives. I love it. I want to get behind what you're doing, and I'd like to first off start out by giving you guys $100 million so we can really get this going, because Hollywood needs to know where the Transform Recovery buildings are so they can get their butts over there. And I want to have a training center that we can train people on Torah so that you can equip people so that they can help all these people that are really lost because they don't have Yahweh here in Hollywood. Some of you are thinking, you really think like that? Yeah, all the time. All the time. Sand's the one that brought up the guy from Friends. And boy, he was really screwed up. Oh my gosh. But he was running a rehab program. And then he relapsed. I don't know how many millions of dollars his house was worth, but he opened up his own house and said, here, you guys can run rehab out of my house. And then it all fell apart because he went back out. He's got quite